do. Give it all to you and trust the process and keep your eyes on the light clear. And there ain't no stopping what I'm seeing. You can have it if you dream it. Just be brave and you'll achieve it all. It all. I wanna know if you really want it, and if you do, then just shout it loud and clear. I wanna know if you really need it, and if you do, then just shout it loud and clear, loud and clear, loud and clear, loud and clear. Shout it loud and clear, loud and clear, loud and clear, loud and clear. Shout it loud and clear.
Hey, everybody. All right, good evening and welcome to another edition here. I'm just waiting for people to join in here. A lot of people are still coming online here, folks. So we are going to give them a minute or two as we just let them pull up here. Grab a chair, folks. Lots of them right here up in the front. Okay. All right. All these names, my goodness, where are you all coming from? Let me know in the questions box. Where are you all coming from, folks? There's a questions box. You find that kind of little icon on your Zoom dashboard. Click on that on the only one that sees that, and be happy to answer all your questions as well. So, okay, all right, let's take a look here. Okay, let's get going here. Okay, I think time to get started. I'm sure they will catch up here. So, okay. All right, again, good evening, everybody, and welcome to DayTradeSPY.com's Weekend Review for Sunday, April the 12th, 2026. We kind of missed it last week. It was Easter, and we thought, well, we're not going to be that cruel and spoil your weekend with the webinar. So we skipped last week, and well, here we are, and it is the 12th of April, heading into spring, daylight savings time. My goodness, spring is around the corner. And I'm starting to look and see, what are I going to do for landscaping this year? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Hey, we'll figure it out later. All right, folks, my name is Hugh, and this is me live and in color. And I hope you can see me there. That's the background here. That's looking through my window here. Beautiful sunset. Not sure you can see this or not. Well, I don't think you can see it. A little hazy up, a little cloudy. But there I am. So now I think to get a better view of me, when it gets a little bit darker, I'll just close the blinds and more light will be shed on my face. Maybe this will help a little bit, very little. Anyway, maybe you don't want to see me. I think I am going to, I am going to close the blinds so that you can see me a little bit easier, and hopefully it'll be not so much in the shadows. And there's not a lot to see out the windows now anyway. So, all right, there we go. Is that a little bit easier for you? There you go. All right. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. All right, Sunday, March the 12th, 2026. This is weekend review. Let us know in the questions box, by the way, if you are new to options. Okay, just want to kind of get an idea if you're new to us, DayTradeSPY. We heard about us, anything at all. So we give you a big shout out. And of course, I think a lot of people have been here before. They've seen it. I've seen a lot of familiar names here. Lots of familiar names here. And I just kind of go through the list. Oh my gosh, I have a lot of names here. Wow. All right. Okay, let's move on here. Folks, here's the standard disclaimer. Well, let me see here. To be discussed first. You can take a look at last week, review the upcoming week, give you a 2-minute tutorial, answer your questions, got a little contest here. There you go, just flipping through that real quick. And did I do this one here yet? I think I have to, there it is. I gotta show this up on the screen for a few seconds at least. Standard disclaimer that you're alone responsible for all of your own trading, and that past performance does not guarantee future results. I think you understand all this. You'll see this pretty well everywhere. And believe it or not, there are people that say, well, you said that the SPY is going to go up and it didn't, it went down. And I have to say that, well, if you would have waited another 5 minutes, it did go out. I don't know where it's going to go any more than anybody else. And here's the funny thing, nobody knows. And yet so many traders, right, rely on some pundit on TV, right, or some famous guru, somebody that, oh, my market's going to go up or down or something. And there's some pretty famous people that say things. I guess given enough time, they'll be right, right? Oh, the market's going to collapse. Well, it did eventually, but not in the time frame that you thought or said or implied, or maybe you did say a time frame. So, I mean, even a stop clock is right twice a day, right? Anyway, nobody walking the face of the earth knows where the market is going to go, except those people who actually cause the market to go up. For example, President Trump, Fed Chair Jeremy Powell, any of those kind of people, right? They know where the market's going to go because they say they're the ones that move the market. But you know what? The funny thing is, they don't call me to tell me what they're going to do. I'm just like everybody else out there, including all those pundits on TV and all those people, all those famous people, right? Nobody knows. So, but we do the best we can with what we have, the information we have, and that's what we do. That's what we do. So, and we're going to talk about that stuff. So let's move on here to be discussed. Okay. I got a little contest for you at the end of the term as well. And I think if you've been here before, you know what we're talking about here. It's a random number generator. Okay. And what happens is just to simply pick a number 1 to 100, and then the person closest to it wins a free ebook. So not a skill testing question at all, and just kind of a little sweetener to keep you here. So all right, let's move along here, folks. Anybody who is new on, my name is Hugh. Right, I learned to trade a long time ago, and I started making some money. People started to course me to show them how, and I've been actually teaching people my breakout trades since 2010, publicly since 2010. I've had a few people before that, of course, that would show my friends and family and neighbors and stuff. Hey, check this out. If you do this, this happens and that happens, and started making money. That's kind of cool. But anyway, that's what I do. Little short-term breakout trades. Love to teach others how to trade too. People often ask me, well, how come you bother with all of this and not just trade on your own? I say to them, well, I could, and sometimes maybe I should, because I can make a lot more money just simply trading and paying attention to my own trades. But it's not always about the money. I know it sounds really magnanimous. Is that the word? It sounds very odd that I would say something like that. But quite frankly, when you have enough money, there are other things that when your basic needs are taken care of, there are other things that other needs. I have a need to help other people. I know it sounds a little bizarre, but I thoroughly enjoy seeing other people do well trading options. And if I can share my knowledge, experience, and all of that with other people to show them what to do, then that makes me very, very happy. And the same goes for my cohort, John Johnson. He's not with us tonight. He's off tonight, as he is every Sunday. He actually does the Wednesday night sessions for the Inner Circle. John's a litigation lawyer. He turned to options trading and teaching options trading. I mean, who does that? Uh, he was actually a very highly acclaimed lawyer, by the way, in this field, and he's also highly acclaimed in options trading, very much acclaimed in some industry publications. Uses highly effective tools to determine trades, and his philosophy is very simple. Take what the market gives you, very similar to mine. And like me, he also loves to teach other people how to trade. Together we make a really good team. And I really love it. We actually have a pretty good saying here that says, when our indicators unite, our trades ignite. When our indicators unite, our trades ignite. Very true, because see, John has his own set of indicators that he uses, and I have my own set of indicators that I use to determine our trades. So we do the trading room together, and we discuss in the trading room right around 9:50, 9:20. I think 9:20 is really kind of when we start things. So we take a look at the news and other events that shape the day, right? What happened in overnight trading? Where did the market go? Where's it going to go? more important than where it is or where it has been is where is it going to go. And that's really what determines our trades. Where do we see the market going? So I put in my set of indicators that I like to use. Likewise, John has his set of indicators that he likes to use. And for the most part, they are very different indicators, both highly effective. And the way I look at it is if I have all these indicators in there, excuse me, then I crowd my charts with just too many indicators. And I've run into this before where people would call me and say, "Oh, Hugh, your program's not working anymore." And I find out they have all these indicators, and they're waiting for all these indicators to set up. And then by the time they set up and they get into the trade, it's kind of the end of the trend when the market's no longer your friend and they lose money. So I've learned to strip away anything that does not, have clean charts. You'll often see me in the trading room, removing indicators just as fast as I put them on. There's nothing worse than having a lot of redundant, unnecessary indicators that are just going to cloud your charts and crowd your numbers and squish your candlesticks and all that. So I like to keep it as clean as possible. So I have my set of indicators that I use, and John has his set of indicators, completely different. But when I say, John, the way I see things, I could see this particular situation unfolding, and I think the market's going to go up. And here's where I think it's going to go, up to this level here. And he'll look at it and say, I concur. Using my indicators, I can totally concur with what you're saying. So when I say the market's going up and John says the market's going to go up, you might want to consider buying call options because the market's probably going to go up. All right. It's not very often that we are both wrong. Yeah, not very often that we are both wrong. Anyway, so that's how it works. That's how it works. So let's move on. And by the way, again, there's a questions box. You'll find a little icon on your Zoom dashboard. Click on that, folks. That's what it's all about here. This is actually supposed to be your night here where I answer questions for you, right? That's what we do, and we try to get to the ball. Folks, Spy on the Market. Make sure you subscribe to this. It's a weekly newsletter that goes out. It's free. It takes you only about a couple of minutes to read. Very light, relevant, even entertaining. All you have to do is go to our website, DayTradeSPY.com. Very easy to remember because that's what we do. We day trade SPY, DayTradeSPY.com. This week's topic is going to be very simple. Some questions answered. And let me just punch that up here. There it is right there. Some questions answered. Or is it some answered questions? Some answered questions. I think that's what it is. Some answered questions. Let me just fix this up here. Some answered questions. Okay, let me just get this right. Some answered questions. Okay. I think I read a book by that name once. Anyway, that's what it is. Some answered questions. Where did it go? And what is this D here? Let me get rid of the D. All right, there we go. Some answered questions. There's right there. So, as you can imagine, we get a lot of questions thrown at us during the week and a lot of emails, a lot of questions all the time, and various questions. So, I'm just going to take a few. Every now and then, I think I'm going to do this in the newsletter. I'm just going to simply take some questions, frequently asked questions, and answer them. In this way, hopefully, you'll get your questions answered because I'm sure that when one person asks a question, there's 100 people behind them wondering the same thing. So we're going to try that this week alone. Let's take a look and see what happened in the market this last week, folks. Very strange market, as you can see. On Monday, we had SPY edged a little bit higher on the PMI report, and then Trump press conference. He had a press conference on hopes that the Iranian ceasefire deadline at 8 o'clock the next night, Tuesday night, that things are going to work out okay. or in Trump's words, hell will rain down on Iran, and it's going to be the end of civilization. I don't know about you, not to get political, but I think those are little, that rhetoric is really uncalled for. I know it's a threat, and here's the problem: Trump oftentimes carries out his threats, and there's no telling what he's going to do with that. So. I don't like to hear words like that. Mind you, I also don't like to see Iran continue their threats against America. They started actually back in 1979. That was a time when the president at that time, Jimmy Carter, maybe he should have actually stepped up to the plate and taken care of this threat. But, well, that's Iran. We'll kick that down the road. Kick that down the road. But frankly, as they develop their nuclear war chest, maybe it's time, right? Maybe it's time to put that threat, put it in, put it away, because if and when it gets to that point where they do have their nuclear weapons aimed right at the U.S. and they have the capability to do so, and knowing how cheap life is over there, I will not put it past them to do something so stupid as to do that. And I, for one, do not want to be under that threat. So, but anyway, that was enough of a threat to shake the markets a little bit. But then the next day, there was a truce on the 11th hour. There would appear to be a bit of a diplomatic breakthrough in peace talks. I believe that was the time when Trump said, "Okay, we're going to hold out for 2 weeks and get our negotiations underway, but it had better be quick." Anyway, SPY shot up 24 points. SPY shot up 24 points in post-market trading. Now, I remember that day, and I thought to myself, you know what? I was thinking of buying calls because deep in my heart, I knew that there had to be some sort of a deal made. They're not going to, they're not going to start, the end of civilization. We're just not going to do that. We as America are not so inclined as to wipe out an entire civilization. Uh, I also believe that, again, just my opinion, that if that were to have happened, you can bet other countries, perhaps Russia, North Korea, China, they would have stepped up to the plate and said, you're not going to do that. And before you know it, we're all lobbing bombs back and forth. And I'm not talking about little missiles, right? I think you all know that. Anyway, 20 last minute, SPY shot 24 points. I missed the mark on that, but I do know some people who did get in on that. And some people made 10, even 15 times their money in post-market trading like that. So come Wednesday, energy prices eased with a temporary ceasefire, in hopes of opening the Strait of Hormuz. Crude oil dropped 16%. There was some profit taking on SPY. Thursday, SPY gained for the seventh consecutive session, with investors remaining optimistic due to a holding ceasefire in the Middle East. So it's all about this headline news and the ceasefire and Iran and all that other stuff. Like we had PCE reports, personal consumption expenditures, we had PPI, we had CPI, all kinds of numbers. But inflation numbers seem to have taken a back seat to what's going on in the Middle East, right? On Friday, markets closed mixed as investors paused following a massively rising week. That was the best weekly gains we had since November. All right, looking at the seasonal charts. This is a seasonal chart, folks. The blue line is, of course, current SPY price. The red line here at the bottom is the average of the last 5 years closing price on the daily chart. And as you can see, historically, we rose about 2 points over the last week, and SPY historically dropped about 3 points the following week. Not to say we're going to follow the path to that this coming week, but we'll see if there's any pressure to the downside this week. And who knows, right? Who knows? I suspect the market's actually going to go up. The reason is because we're just embarking on earnings season. We're just about to start earnings season. This week we have some banks reporting. And let me just zoom in here to see who is going to be reporting when. Let's get to know that because there is going to be earnings season / earnings. Yeah, bear with me while I pull it up. All right, so coming up on Monday, tomorrow, we have Goldman Sachs. They're the big one that's going to be reporting tomorrow. Goldman Sachs. The earnings per share forecast there is $16.34. And they are going to be reporting before the market opens. So that should have some upward pressure on the market. On Tuesday, JP Morgan, before the market opens, $5.46. You also have Wells Fargo in the morning as well, $1.57. Citigroup, also in the morning, $2.64. BlackRock, $11.96. We also have Johnson & Johnson. Let me see what else. CarMax. Wednesday, we have Bank of America in the morning, looking at 99 cents. Morgan Stanley, $3.08 also in the morning. Let me see, Kinder Morgan, PNC Financial Services, M&T Bank in the morning for $4.01. That's my bank, M&T. On Thursday, TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. Netflix is also going to be reporting after hours on Thursday. Abbott Labs, Charles Schwab is also reporting in the morning here on Thursday, expecting $1.36. New York Bank, Bank of New York Mellon, also in the morning, expecting $1.93. U.S. Bancorp expecting $1.14. And on Friday, what do we have Friday? Fifth Third Bank in the morning, looking for 85 cents a share. State Street, $2.54. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting week as the banks start kick off the earnings season. Anyway, what happened here this last week? Iranian ceasefire sparked hopes for de-escalation in this conflict. Oil dropped, triggered a sharp rebound in equity markets. Still hurdles to cross, but the de-escalation fighting gave an encouraging signal, which is why the market ran right up here, right up to flagpole, all the way up to the top shelf where Mama keeps her cookies, right? Truce is fragile, folks. Tops this weekend. Well, guess what? It turned out to be failed talks. That's the latest. Concluded with no deal. And Trump wants a strictly all or nothing. Every country in the world would be allowed full access to the waterway, or none at all. That's the word on the street. As you know, the news can change, minute to minute, hour to hour, and we'll see what the headline news is going to be tomorrow morning. And so that could have a downward. Let's put it this way: if there's no deal, that could have a downward pressure on the stock. And of course, the bank's reporting was going to have some perhaps upward pressure, as normally is the case on the stock. But we're going to wait and see what happens. And that's the beauty of what we do as scalpers. It doesn't much matter which way the market's going to go because we're going to take advantage of both going up and down. Oil prices well down from their peaks, but they do remain elevated amid ongoing disruptions to energy supply in the Middle East. We were up over $110 a barrel. All right, came back down, $90-some, pushing back up here. It's a very volatile situation in the Middle East, and of course, it does affect what we do here. Rising oil prices means higher transportation prices, right? Higher costs on everything. Inflation. With inflation, that usually means higher interest rates. They're actually talking about raising interest rates now. I think the last consensus I saw a couple of days ago was something like 98, 99% voted or analysts believe that there's going to be a no rate change at the next Fed meeting in April, later on this month. But I think there's like a 1 or 2% that believe that we might actually see a rate hike. It's funny because not too long ago we were looking at another drop in rates, but now we're actually talking about a rate hike to combat inflation. Anyway, this is where the situation sits right now with oil, and I suspect that once the situation does get under control, they open up the Strait of Hormuz, oil starts flowing, I suspect oil prices are going to come down, and that pressure is going to ease, and we're going to start going back down again. Then, of course, it's going to bounce back to tariffs, right? Tariffs. On Monday, low, no news day, low news day. Tuesday, we got PPI report. Wednesday, Empire State Manufacturing Index. And Thursday, we have unemployment claims and the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. And on Friday, low, no news day. Relatively week, right? Quiet week, I should say. Maybe that's a little bit better explanation. Quiet week as far as news is concerned. So I'm expecting volatility to be low on Monday, medium on Tuesday and Wednesday, high on Thursday, and low on Friday. All right. And don't forget, whenever President Trump speaks, expect elevated volatility. Whenever Fed Chair Powell speaks, nothing scheduled for this week from him. But it's going to be mostly headline news. Headline news is what's going to move the markets this coming week, as it has the last, my goodness, since I can remember. So I guess the war is entering its sixth week or something. Crazy. I thought it was going to be over in just a matter of a couple of days, to be honest with you, but here we are. 2-minute tutorial, folks. Why scalping is the strategy for today. I know we talk a lot about this. You no doubt seen some emails going from Eagle Financial Publications about this. But it really is the strategy for today. I have made some trades this last week, and I tried to anticipate where the market was going to go, sort of longer term. Longer term, it's near impossible. It requires an incredible amount of discipline and patience that I don't know of anybody who possesses, because frankly the winds change so fast. Excuse me here. I'm fighting a bit of a sore throat all day here today. The winds on the market change way too fast, and I gotta admire those people that have a really good idea as to where the market's going to go a year from now, or 6 months from now, or even a week from now, because I sure don't. And I don't know of anybody who actually knows where the market's going to be, even a week from now. But we've got a pretty good idea as to where it's going to go today, type of thing, right? Based on what we see on the market first thing in the morning. But scalping is actually the way to do this if you want to build your wealth. Now, I talked to a lot of people with their 401ks and IRAs, different things. Their retirement savings are just kind of going up in smoke these days, and they're all worried about it. They say, "Oh my gosh, what should I do? Should I cash out?" I say, "No, no, no, no. Hold on. Don't do anything. The worst thing you can do is cash out, because the next day, as you saw there last week, the market shot up 24 points instantly. And all you need is a little bit of good news. The market wants to hear good news, right? And it reacts very favorably to good news. So you don't want to be caught missing out on that move back to the upside when that's going to happen. So just stay put. Worst thing you can do is take all your money out. And get this, if everybody starts taking their money out of their accounts, what do you think causes markets to go down? That very act of taking your money out of the market is what puts pressure on the market to go down. So just stay put. It'll be fine. But why is scalping the strategy for today? First of all, we are in highly volatile times. Markets move to headline news, not just interest rates, not just inflation, or not just tariffs anymore. I mean, a year ago was all about tariffs. Now we're talking about war, and anything can happen when you're throwing in that mix, right? Less capital by scalping, you have less capital at risk. Trade small, trade often. If you're used to doing, say, 10 or 20 contracts, go back to, say, 5 contracts. I know you're not making as much, but if you double up the frequency of your trades, if you take lesser amounts per trade and you trade lesser amounts, guess what? You're going to just insulate yourself a little bit easier by putting in a lot of money into these trades. And also, I'm going to be honest with you, option prices seem to be very expensive these days. I don't recall too many days when I spent, $5, $6, $7, $8 an option. I remember when they used to be $3, $4, $5, and now why? They're that expensive? That's because of volatility, right? Volatility goes up, option prices go up. I've seen volatility in the last several weeks that just went through the roof, where our pick of the day, one of the services that we provide, we end up having to say, hey, no trade, or, excuse me, we put in a condition. If the volatility drops to whatever it is, I don't know, 23% or whatever, then, by, say, 9:35, then get into the trade. One thing we don't want to do is advise you to get into a trade when the option prices are through the roof. Because what happens? You buy it, say, when an option price is $9, right? You buy it at $9, but because we told you to, and you buy it, and then they take the volatility out of it, and the option price drops to $6, $7. Now you're left holding the bag for another $2, $3. That's not good. So when we issue, say, in the pick of the day, a no trade day, take that as meaning that, we just saved your backside here on a trade that possibly could have wiped you out. Less capital at risk. You really want to have less capital at risk. Trade small, trade often. Double up on the number of trades that you do and go for smaller gains. If you normally go for, say, I'm going to go for 30, 40, 50%, or not percent, but cents, or if I'm going to go for 6, 7, 8, 10%, pull that right back. Don't even go for a percent. Go for just a few cents. Go for 7 or 8 cents, 10 cents. If you're really on a tear, ramp it up a little bit, 12, 15 cents. I know you might think it's not a lot of money, but guess what? Let's say you have 5 contracts and you just made, say, 10 cents. Well, you just made $50. But let's say you did that, let's say you did that, I don't know, 4 times in a day. Well, that's a couple $100. If you make $200 a day, right? You make $200 a day, that's $1,000 a week, right? That's $50,000 a year. Now, I found that we can do that quite easily by 10 o'clock in the morning. Not bad in these trying times. Not bad at all during these trying times. Folks, with scalping, you can pivot on a dime. Long term to us is the end of the day. I would rather not stay in a trade into the overnight, and I'd rather be in cash. Not always I am, but I will make that assessment later in the day as to determine, well, where do I see the market going? As an example, let's say tomorrow I'm in a position and I can't get out of it and it's near the end of the day, and I may say, and let's say it's a call position to the upside, I might just stay in because why? Earnings season is coming up and the banks are going to be reporting. If the banks report good numbers, that's going to have some upward pressure on the market. Of course, the danger is something going on in the Middle East that's going to drop the price down, but I'd have to reassess that situation to make that determination later in the day. But here's the thing. We can actually pivot on a dime. So if you are in a losing position, you can simply, okay, I'm going to sell. I'll take a hit for 20, 30 cents, whatever it is, even 40 cents, whatever. However, at that point, I do have that cash I can put back into the market, go to the other side, right? You can pivot on a dime. Think of us as little tugboats. Little tugboats. Those institutional investors, right, the big boys, they're piloting the Titanic. They can't flip on a dime. Cash is a position, good place to be at the end of the day. This is all scalping. The swings these days. We've seen swings like, oh my gosh, the head fakes are absolutely phenomenal. I don't think I've ever seen head fakes like this. Swings are way too unpredictable. You can go run it upright like crazy, and all of a sudden the next minute the thing is just crashing and burning, and you say, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?" Right? What just happened? Just the last couple of weeks here, we've seen a low of 628.86 up to 682.44. That's a whopping range of 54 points in less than 2 weeks. You want to keep traders trading, right? If you're a trader, you like to trade. Trade with smaller, less riskier positions. And you know what? If you find it's a real challenge, paper trade. Paper trade. And paper trade, you get very comfortable with the paper trades. And then when you are comfortable, you can kind of see that you're at one with the market. You're okay. Now you're seeing that, okay, you are making some money. I know it's paper. Then transition to real money. Okay. But scalping to me is the way to do this. I don't see longer term positions. Now, all that said, we do look at markets, in the trading room, and we'll anticipate where we think it's going to go. I know the other day we're looking at the market going up quite a bit, but I wasn't sure it was going to go there, and I never, for myself, I did not hold on until then, which was a good thing, because fairly soon after we closed off the trading room, the market did reverse, went back down, and we never did get back up to where we initially thought it might. I don't have those numbers handy anymore, but it was the market can be very deceiving, and it can change in a heartbeat these days. So be very careful. Just go for those lesser gains. All right. All right. Let's move on, folks. Our trades this week. I had 4 wins. Now we, John and I had 4 wins. This is trading room winners and losers. Okay, in the trading room. This does not mean all of our trades. Yes, I do trade outside of the trading room, as does John, but this is what we showed you in the trading room itself. 4 wins on Tuesdays, 5 wins, 2 losses, 3 wins on Wednesday. Thursday was 4 wins, 1 loss, and we had 1 win, 2 losses on Friday. Now, when we say a loss, the issue here is that according to our terms with Eagle Financial Publications, our bosses, they actually want us to close out trades by the end of the day if we're in a position, and we have not closed out in the trading room. So in other words, in the trading room, we will assess where we see the market going, and we'll say, okay, well, we think it's going to go up to this point here. And if it doesn't, we're going to close at the end of the day. Now, the reality is, quite possibly for our own real trades, we may have held overnight. But we have to show you this in this format. So unfortunately that there were some losses here. But we have 9, 11, 12, 12, 16, 17, 17 wins. And let's see, 3, 4, 5 losses. It was a challenging week. I'm not going to kid you. It was a challenging week. However, we still ended up on the plus side. Now, this is the 2026 goal. We're not taking 5 to 50,000 this year, although we are going to show that at some point here. But what we're doing is tracking all our trades in the trading room. And we are recording them as if you're only buying 5 contracts per trade. You can trade along with us or do your own thing, whatever you want to do. All trading room trades will be recorded. These are the ones that we narrate. Now, to date, starting in early January, if you had done that in the trading room up until the end of Friday, you'd be up $8,540 less commission. All right, and as you can see, there's some losing trades in there, but by and large, we're still very much to the upside, even in these volatile times, if you were to only trade 5 contracts in the trading room. All right, so now I'm going to introduce to you here. We're going to talk about all our services. I go through that every week. And this week, I'm simply going to talk about our workshop that we are going to presenting on Thursday, April the 16th, Scalping Through Volatility. What you're going to learn, why scalping matters today more than ever. I mentioned a lot of that already here. How to map out your trading career, trading plan included. That is something I am going to show you right here. Let me just see if I can find it for you. You're going to love this one. This is actually going to be really phenomenal. Well, maybe not phenomenal, just very good. Okay, this is what this is, folks. This is going to be a spreadsheet. The rules are going to be very simple. Okay, so here's what this is all about. All right, I'm going to submit this to everybody who joins us in the workshop. They're going to receive a copy of this. And I'm going to suggest that you print this off each month and manually fill it in. Manually fill it in. What we're doing here, you're going to use a cash account. You don't need a margin account. Preferably with $5,000 a minimum. And you are not going to be trading $5,000, at least not for a while. All right, not for a very long time. That's the objective. You just want to start with that kind of money. Follow our strategy in the trading room. Only trade with money you can afford to lose. This is going to reduce your anxiety. Going to ensure better trades. When you're trading everything in your account, you're going to be very nervous, very anxious. Oh, this has to work or else I lose my mortgage money. Kids can't go to college, So often, we're as traders, we're one keystroke away from, making $1 million to the kids don't go to school, right? It's just that crazy stuff. When you hit your daily target, you must stop. Stop trading. Just stop trading for the day. All right? Go do something else. Take up a hobby, Take a disciplined, patient approach. Trading is dynamic. Markets move in both directions. They don't go straight up or straight down. They go in both directions. Trade both calls and puts. Buy first, then sell. We're not going to do any nakeds, no spreads, no ultra high risk trades where you're going to lose your house. That's not the objective. Put your ego aside, number 7. This is a long-term endeavor. Keep an eye on the prize. All right. I get it. If you're at all incapacitated, not feeling well, suffered losses, don't trade that day. Skip a day. It's okay. This is not in stone. It's on paper. Not even on paper yet until you print it off. Keep good notes. Identify. Oh my gosh, spelled that wrong. Identify the weaknesses in your trading and correct as necessary. We're gonna fix that typo before you get it. Print off each month. Manually fill in the results. And this way you are more prone to following it. Start with $100. This is going to be the hard part because you're going to be making more than $100 per trade. Okay, you're going to be making a lot more than $100. But start with $100, 5,000. That's going to ramp it up to 5,100. Next day, 52, 53. You're going to stop trading after $100. You're going to find that you're actually making 120, 130, 118, 106. higher than hundreds. And you're going to see these numbers. You're going to see this target balance actually go up. So just fill in these numbers, your actual gains and your actual balance. You're going to see this thing moving up. Now, this is starting April the 20th. All right, this is going to take you to the end of May. Starting in June, you're going to start making, right? You're going to be at $8,000, right? That's your balance at that point. Now, you're going to start making $200 a day. Take that up to the end of June, and then, all right, go with $300 per trade, right up to, oh my gosh, that'll take you right to the end of November. Now, I can all but guarantee you're going to be making more than $300 when you're trading 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000, right? That's going to be a no-brainer. And you're going to obviously make more money than that. But if you're still following that rule, by the middle of, actually by early December, you're going to be making $400 on a $45,000 balance in your account, which is nothing, absolutely nothing. It's easy. You're going to do that in your sleep by accident. And that's how you're going to get to $55,000 by the end of the year. You're going to get a copy of this, print it off, fill this in manually, keep it by your computer at all times, and you should do well. You should do well. All right, get a plan, right? Right, plan your trading, plan your trades, trade your plan. You've heard this a million times. I'll tell you even more because there's a lot of truth to that. Map out your trading career. All right, how to turn volatility into your friend. We're going to teach you this. I know we talk a lot about, oh, it's too volatile, we're not going to trade today. Well, there's a certain sweet spot with volatility. You don't want volatility to be too low either because you're not really making a lot of money, right? You need some volatility, but we're going to look at those times when the markets are volatile, and we're going to take advantage of those volatility situations. We're going to show you all that. We're also going to show you how to interpret headline news for the day's trading. As I mentioned earlier, it's all headline news these days, right? It's more so than anything else. It's what's going on over across the pond. I'm going to show you how to read the technicals for the best setups, precise entry and exit points, and why not all setups are good. You're going to find some setups you want to get into them and they'll say, oh, hang on, not so fast. Why not? Well, and I'll show you why not. There's nothing worse than you see a great setup, you get in, and when the market reverses on you, you say, oh my gosh, what happened? Well, it's because you missed a crucial step. We're going to show you all that. We're going to show you all that, right? How to minimize losses. All right, very important. You need to minimize losses. You know, if you have too many losses, you're going to be out of the game real fast. So we're going to show you how to gradually, methodically ramp up your trading account. That's what you are going to learn, all right? All right, so what else can you talk about? Scalping through Volatility Workshop. This is the QR code. I want you to take a picture of that. And by the way, don't worry if you don't get a picture of that. I'm going to put this up here at the end of the session. And during the song, you'll have plenty of time, something like 3 minutes, to get your phone out, get your camera out, get into this thing, get the QR code, and make your purchase so that you get in on this. All right, this session, this workshop is going to be hosted by myself along with John. Starts at 11:30 Eastern Time, this Thursday, April 6th. You should budget an hour and a half to 2 hours for this live event. It's going to be a high-intensity session, and we expect to make some trades. Okay, we're not just going to show you stuff, but we're going to expect to want to get in on that. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through, a PowerPoint presentation, what scalping is all about, all the sort of the theoretical stuff. Then we're going to get in, show you live trades, try and get in some live trades. I got to tell you, the last time we hosted this, and the time before that, we actually made some trades. We made some trades and they were all successful. But unbeknownst to us at the time, a lot of our participants were also trading along with us. And they told us after the fact that, oh, by the way, I made X dollars, I made X dollars, I made X dollars. Thank you so much. I more than paid for the session. Oh, cool. Anyway, it's also going to be recorded. So in case you cannot make it, I know some people are busy at that time. They can't make it. But even if you can't make it, buy this anyway because you are going to get the recording. And the recording is going to be well worth it, let me tell you. This cost, now I thought it was last week, I think, or whenever it was, I talked about this being $249. Well, I found out that Eagle financial products. Our boss is giving it away for $199. Giving it away for $199. This is beyond insanity. Beyond insanity. I don't know why they would give it away for so less. I think they just want to get a lot of people learning how to day trade options using scalps. Folks, book now. Space is limited. I believe on Zoom we only have room for 1,000 people. All right. You do not want to miss this. And you know what? Get your friends in on this as well. Send them the link to say, hey, buddy, all right, you want to make money trading scalping? This is where you need to be. This is where you need to be. All right, let's move along here, folks. Any questions? Let's take a look at some questions. I want to get to these. I don't want to hold you all night. Do I subscribe to Market Watch? Yes, Phil, I do. That's one of the many. Publications. So unphotogenic. I'm not a photogenic kind of a guy, right? I mean, I get around and say that, John's the smart one, but I'm the good-looking one. I don't know. Anyway, I subscribe to a lot of different things, including Market Watch. I do not look at any one particular venue or news feed or mainstream media or any of those things as the be all and end all. I take them all and I look at them all sort of in balance, right? Okay, equity futures are down 1% across the board tonight, possibly. Let me just look at here. Is there a website we can see upcoming earnings? Okay, there's a few websites for earnings. I like to use NASDAQ/earnings. I mean, that's a pretty good one there. There are some pretty good ones. So NASDAQ.com/market slash market. I think if you just go NASDAQ.com/earnings, you should get the earnings. You should get the earnings report. I'm pretty sure that'll give you the earnings report. Okay. And then you should be able to get the schedule on that. So give that a shot. Okay. Okay. Another question here. Okay. I subscribed to the pick of the day about a week or so ago. Thank you for that, Jim. The third rule recommends using an end of day market close for a stop loss. Does this mean that using the prior day's close as the stop? No, what that means here, Jim, is that if you have not reached your target during the day, which is not likely, most of the time you will, and actually usually you'll get it fairly early. But if you have not reached it by the end of the day, then sell it at the market close. Okay. So if tomorrow morning we issue a call option and you put it up for sale, so you buy it right at the market open, you put it up for sale for say 6% profit target. You watch the market go up and down, but it doesn't take you out. By the end of the day, come back at 359. Just sell it for the market close. You'll take a bit of a loss, perhaps a big loss. I don't know, but there's usually enough time in those trades, so you're not going to lose everything. You shouldn't lose everything, and never go full hog in any of those trades. Even if you had 999 successful trades, and you think, oh, it's always a winner, right? It's always a winner. I'm gonna go all in on the last one. Never, ever, ever go all in on anything. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. At the end of the day, nobody walking the face of this planet knows where the market's going to go. You don't want to go all out risk on anything, but just carefully. Now, you might see, hey, listen, it's kind of crazy times. Instead of 6%, I'm just going to go for 5 or even 4. A lot of people do that. All right. Am I holding calls from last week? I am not holding anything right now. Right. Will these scalping gains records also include the OMG? The OMG is a separate strategy. All right, Chris, the OMG is a separate strategy. It's just short for out of the morning gate. So what we do there is very simple. It's not a scalping. It's actually what we do there is we right around 9:30 Eastern in the morning, John and I determine the support and resistance lines on the 5-minute chart. Okay, now we could use, we sort of use different different support and resistance numbers, but John and I will assess the support and resistance. And okay, fine. If it breaks through this, then fine. If it falls through that, fine. Um, might use the stock price. Might use Fibonacci. Might use pivot points, whatever. Okay, but we establish our support and resistance lines. Then the first 5-minute candle to close outside of either of those lines, that is the direction we are looking to go for a 6% gain. So that is a separate strategy altogether. Okay. How long is the recording good for? As I understand it, I don't know. I don't want to say. I'd like to say indefinitely here, Rod, but uh, not really sure. That's a good question, but it'll be good for long enough that you should be able to go back anytime in the meantime and and you know, review it. So I don't think it's going to be up there for years if that's what you're asking. So if you'll excuse me for just half a second, folks, I'll be right back. Just stay right there. I'll be back in about 10 seconds. Okay, I am back. All right, there we go. All right. We're in for another wild week. Futures, yeah. Oh, I know. It's gonna be volatility is gonna be something else. You know what? Last I heard, they did not make a deal in the Middle East. I don't know what's going on over there. I suspect, I know Trump was talking last week about blowing up bridges and power plants and stuff, and he might put the heat on and maybe blow up a bridge or two. Oh my gosh. Um, just to show them that he means business. Sooner or later, everybody's going to come to the party and they are going to reach some sort of a deal. Anyway, we'll see what happens. All right. What do you mean by all in? Half the account money? Steven, okay, so yeah, so there are some people that they say, okay, I've got $7,500 in my trading account and I'm going to trade the whole trading account. Well, I can't think of a worse thing to do. Now, if you make money, that's fantastic. But if you lose money, it takes some doing to get it back, right? If you lose 50% of your trading account, you have to make 100% to get it back. Not always easy, especially when you're stressed emotionally. So you're going to have a lot of, it all sounds so easy, and sometimes we actually make it look easy. But don't forget, John and I have, oh my gosh, 45 plus years of experience behind us doing this. We're not new at this. We've seen it all. So I think we got a pretty good control of our emotions. I mean, there's still times I let my guard down a little bit and I jump the gun or whatever. Did that the other day. That's why I had my losses. I jumped the gun. I didn't wait for the particular indicator to set up. Anyway, yeah, fear, greed, ego, fear of missing out. You only live once. All of these things are going to play on you. So if I had, say, $7,000 in my trading account, I'd probably just trade five. I'd probably go with just 5 contracts. Yeah, go light. And let's see. Question: when is a good time to cut off trading? Markets close 4:15. Ever hold a scalp overnight? Uh, I have held scalps overnight, Rod. Sometimes I still might, but not unless I firmly believe the market's going to go in my direction. I stay. I generally do not do that these days. I'd like to cut off my trading by say 11, 12 o'clock in the morning. That's it. Trade in the morning and done for the day. I still have the last scalping class on my computer. Okay. Even if you do, Steve, it's always good to get a refresher. All right, we're going to have refreshers. It's a good refresher. And obviously, we're going to show you current data and current market conditions, trading in a current market environment. And I think that's really important because the market's very dynamic. It changes all the time. And you are going to, trading today is not the way it was even a couple months ago, right? Or a year ago, 2 years ago. Oh my gosh, day and night, day and night. But one of the advantages with John and I doing this is that we roll with it. We know how to we're malleable. We know how to change with the times. We know how to how to adapt to the situation, and that's what we teach you. So, all right, let me see other questions here. 5 times 700 is $3,500 in a $7,000 account. I'm not sure what the question is here. That is correct. Yes, 5 times 700 is 3,500 in a trade 7,000 account. So what I'm suggesting there is if you trade, say, I don't know, let's say contract is $5 here, and you're trading 5 contracts times 5, that would be $2,500. You may even want to go less than that, Steve, if you have a 7,000 account. I'm not really sure. Go light. Or what you might want to do is trade the 5 contracts on that account that you're talking about here. And yes, you will trade, but only go for 6, 7, 8 cents on a trade. And you should make that very easily on that kind of account. So that should work out well. Folks, it's 8:57. It's time to play. I don't know if there are any other questions here. Okay, so let me clarify that. So when you see an option price, let's say the option price is $5, okay, $5. That means each option costs you $5, but each option controls 100 underlying shares. Therefore, when you see a $5 charge on an option, that's actually $500 that you're investing in that option, okay, $500. So if you are trading 5 contracts, you're actually putting in $2,500 in that account. I think if I had a $7,000 account, I may not necessarily want to go 5 contracts on that. Now, everybody's going to have different risk tolerances. Different risk tolerances for everybody because we have different capitalizations, different understanding of the strategy, different understanding of the market. I can show you 2 charts. I can show you the same chart, 2 different people. Somebody's going to say the market's going up, and somebody else is going to say the market's going down. So also how you see it. Different understanding of all of that. So anyway, we'll be going over all that in scalping strategy. I hope to see you all on there. All right, so let's take a look here. Folks, what I want you to do here now is pick a number between 1 and 100. All right, and I'm going to pull up my trusty DayTradeSPY random number generator. Ah, yes, this is an exclusive. This is an exclusive thing that we do here. And I will give you another 10 seconds to pull up a number and give me your number here. And the person closest to it is going to win the ebook, Triumphs and Tragedies. And we are going to pick a number here. Right. So give me a number, your best number between 1 and 100. Okay, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to cut it off right now. That is not the number, folks. That's actually last week's number. That is not the number. Okay, James K at 47. He's the last one. Okay, now I am going to hit the button here to get a new number. All right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The number is 15. 15. Let's see who came closest to 15. And if it's a tie, you will both win. You will both win the number. Let's see, Kent came in at 17, 2 off. Walter at 12 came at 3 off. Arnold came in at, let me just write this here. Came in at 14. He's 1 off. All right, so far Arnold's got it. Nobody got a 15. Nobody got a 15. All right, congratulations, Arnold. You win the book, Triumphs and Tragedies. And for that, thank you very much for playing. All right, folks, once again, we are going to thank you for joining us. And there is the QR code. If you have not done yet, please register. get in on this. You got to get in on this, folks. This is really going to be an awesome session, and I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday and also in the trading room tomorrow morning. Been a pleasure, folks. Good night, everybody.
I wanna know if you really want it, and if you do, then just shout it loud and clear. I wanna know if you really need it, and if you do, then just shout it loud and clear. I know it's been on your mind for a while, but to get what you really want can take some time. You gotta be focused now, no play around, and trust the process and keep your eyes on the prize. I can tell you what I'm seeing. You can have it if you dream it. Just be brave and you'll achieve it all. It all. I wanna know if you really want it, and if you do, then just shout it loud and clear. I wanna know if you really need it, and if you do, then just shout it loud and clear. Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Shout it loud and clear. Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Shout it loud and clear. And there ain't no stopping now. You're the one. Shine brighter than the moon and the sun. Be great at what you do. Give it all of you. And trust the process and keep your eyes on the prize. I can tell you